Hi crafters, it's Karen. I completed another project, so I thought I would share it. I created a beach-themed mini album, and I used the Beach Cottage papers by Creative Imaginations. I picked up this paper stack a couple of years ago at the expo, and the main reason why I purchased this paper is because of the sweet little mermaid right there. So I really love that image, and the colors in the stack are like watercolor, soft colors. So I thought it was really sweet. So I finally used it up, and this is my album. The covers on my album measure 4 3/4 by 6. So this is a great size to work with if you're trying to use up your 6 by 6 paper stacks. I used envelope for my pages and Laura Dennison's Stack the Deck method. As a matter of fact, the hinges that I used for this album are the hinges that I created for the tutorial I did a little while ago. So this is the cover. I used this sticker. It's a clear sticker, and it's Creatures of the Sea, and it comes from this sticker sheet that I've had for years and years and years. You could see that it's starting to yellow, and it was way in the back. You know, so I'm trying to use up my stash here. But I thought it worked really well on the cover with the mermaid looking up at the title. I just love this image. And then for the binding, I used the burlap paper from DCWV at Joann's for my binding, and I think it came out really cute. This piece here is a piece from Butterbee Scraps, and I just took the piece and I snipped each end off, and I adhered, you know, this piece onto my binding, and then each other piece on either side, so that, you know, I could open and close the book. But I thought it worked out really well. I added this dainty lace here from Hobby Lobby on the front and on the back cover. And then there's my back cover. And then I had to put an eyelet in my spine so that I'd be able to tie some seam binding and some of this twine here. I thought it came out really cute, and I also added this charm. And this bottle cap charm is one that I made last year, and it's an image from a different beach paper stack, and I just used my crackle accents on it, and then I adhered the bottle cap to one of the doilies from Hobby Lobby, and then I had added these little charms that Lydia had sent me at one time. On the bottom of the doily, this is a little Tim Holtz tassel, and this is a seashell that I had found on the beach at one time or another. So I used that for my charm. I also added a little starfish there, a pretty little bauble, and then there's a palm tree over here, if you could see that there. On this piece of chain that I had in my stash. So I thought that came out really cute, and then with the seam binding and the twine, I thought it was really sweet. So for the inside of my album, I didn't have any of the embellishments that go with this collection, but I used my Cane Company die cut pack here by Tim Coffey. And this goes to a Cane Company stack, but I thought some of these work real well in my album. So for the first page, for the inside cover, I used this starfish paper that I really liked in the collection, and to distress, the distress ink I used, I believe, is tea dye. I used the burlap paper and made like a little pocket and layered it with this lace from Hobby Lobby. And then I cut out some photo mats, And all of my photo mats will be large enough to hold, you know, like a wallet size photo. So I used my mermaid stamp and stamped this image. It didn't come out totally right, but still I think she's sweet. She matches the mermaid in the collection. So I could use that for a photo, and then another piece of cardstock for a photo. And then for the first page, this is a little rosette from Suha Fuha, Unzip It. It's a really sweet little rosette, and I layered this pink paisley embellishment on top. And this is by Martha Stewart, this punch, and I used the gauze paper stack by DCWV to punch that out like a little leaf. And then I used a border from the collection. It says Sun and Sea, you know, up at top. So just, you know, sweet and simple. And for the next page is this. And I used some of my burlap trim that I got at Hobby Lobby. And this Adage ticket by Tim Holtz, it says play. And I adhered this little glittered button of a starfish here. And then I layered some Recollections flowers, petals with another sand dollar button in the center. And I cut some leaves out of my burlap paper there. So, and then for the next page, I made it a pocket page. And I just used my Recollections punch to get this decorative edge. And I cut a piece of this paper to, you know, to make a decorative strip. And this is another Kane Company embellishment, and I layered it on a doily. And then the photo mats that I cut from cardstock is this, and I used my stamp and Stays on ink to stamp that out. And one of the stickers from the sheet I showed you, it says, "An endless, crashing, wondrous sea, so full of might and mystery." I thought that was cute. And then just another photo mat. And then this is a pocket page. I did make 3 pocket pages. My pages are made out of envelopes. So just a simple, you know, photo mat. And I used my Jenny Bolin punch to create the little tab there. So then the next page is this, and is this, and I used my my metals from Butterbee Scraps, and I just cut this piece in half. And I got this idea from Julie, the paper bag lady. She had done some mini albums that she was sharing, and I thought this was a very clever idea. And she adhered them in such a way that you could just fit a photo mat, you know, under the metals. And I just thought that was really cute. So I did that. Thank you for the idea, Julie. And then this is another sticker from the sticker sheet I showed you. It says Beachcombing, Seashells by the Seashore. And then for this next page, I used my McGill mini pocket punch. It looks like this, to create this little pocket here. And I used my gauze paper from DCWV at Joann's, and I adhered it with this trim from Joann's and made the little pocket with my punch. And then inside are some little tags, big enough for dates, names and dates, and then big enough for an Adage ticket. It says live. So I just put those in there. And then this photo mat is textured cardstock, and I stamped the saying, "Always maintain a kind of summer, even in the middle of winter." So I put that there. And then there's a magnet that holds this flap closed. But then I used my Jenny Bolin punch to create the banner with pieces of the cardstock collection there, and on some string. And then this inside piece, I just layered a border from the collection here, and part of a sticker that says beach and ocean there. And a magnet, like I said, will hold that closed. And then for the next page, I just adhered this sticker on some cardstock, and it says Splash, and I used Brad's, because I like the look of the metals, and I left it open in the middle to hold another Adage ticket. It says story, and then another place for journaling, and I just stamped a sea dollar. Is that what you call them? Sand dollar. And just, a little piece for journaling. And then the next page is this, and this is a different envelope, McGill envelope punch that I have. And inside it is just a couple of pieces of cardstock that I distressed, big enough for names and dates, maybe a little journaling. So I put those in the little envelope. And this is a McGill punch that makes this little envelope. And then another, photo mat. And then this is a half of a doily from Julie's shop. And this is a compass from the K & Company. And I just used my glossy accents on it. And use that for an embellishment. And then this is a pocket page as well. So there's a photo mat in here. And it's simply this, nothing on the back. And then the next page, I created a little pocket using this burlap with lace that I had gotten at Hobby Lobby, and a little crocheted flower from Recollections, and a pink paisley embellishment there. And on these photo mats, I stamped the mermaid again, and then just another photo mat for photo. And then I used Julie's idea again over here with metal pieces from Butterbee Scraps, and I created this photo mat using corner punch from Recollections. This burlap trim here is from Hobby Lobby. So I thought that was cute. I really love this idea. And then this is also a pocket page. So, and then the next page is simply this, and I used some more embellishments from the K & Company pack, and I layered the seashells. And I put this one on Pop Dots, so it's a nice spot for photo. And then over here, I used the burlap paper to cover this page and layered it with trim from Hobby Lobby. I made another of the tiny library pockets with a Recollections flower on top. And again, there's little tickets, and then an Adage ticket says Giggle. So just a little place for, names and dates or whatever. And then this also folds out, and another nice place for a photo. I went around this photo mat with a string before I laid it in my album. And then for this last page, this is another metal piece from Butterbee Scraps, and I painted it. It's one of the silver corner pieces, and I painted it with white gesso and then adhered it to act as a pocket. And I just thought the sandpiper was cute, so I put her there. We see them all the time on the beach, and they're the funniest little things, so I wanted to include that. And then another photo mat, I just stamped a seashell there. And then the last page is this, and I had taken the other sheet of this, and I fussy cut the seashells and flowers out, and then I used Pop Dots to make it dimensional, if you can tell. And then I just stuck this Adage ticket, it says Bliss, right in there, and another nice place for a photo. And then this is the inside back cover. I really wanted to use the mermaid again. I think she's so sweet, really, really sweet. So that's my little album, my little beach mini album, big enough for I made the pages big enough to hold 3x4 photos or wallet size photos. So thanks so much for watching, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. Bye.